Today I am going to be reacting to 10 anime hot takes from comicbookresources.com. I'm going to be looking at all 10 of these and giving you my thoughts on if they are a hot take, if they're a lukewarm take, or if they are a reasonable, well thought out take. I have never seen this list before, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them as each one of these hot takes come up.
This is exhilarating. Get excited.
Starting off, number 10, dubs can be just as good as subs. I do not think this is a hot take in any way whatsoever. Maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, subs would have been far superior to dubs, but I do not think that is the case anymore. In some cases, I think that shows are more watchable as dubs and are even possibly better as dubs. I think this is due to the quality in voice acting that has come up over the last several years. I even prefer to watch shows in dub because I don't have time in my life to just sit down and watch anime with that being the only focus. Lots of time I have other tasks I need to be doing as well. And so dubs allow me to do both those things at once without having to sit there and read. I am totally fine watching subs if it calls for it. Lots of anime as they come out are only in subs, but nowadays a lot of them come out concurrently with dubs and subs. So that has become a more viable option. But if the situation calls for it, I will still watch subs. Like, for example, Monster, my favorite anime of all time, is only in sub. There is a dub somewhere out there, but it's extremely hard to find. So in that case, I have no issue going through and finding the sub and watching it instead. Number 9, Fairy Tail overuses the power of friendship. I think this is a lukewarm take. Does Fairy Tail in some instances overuse the power of friendship? Yes. But my argument is that a lot of anime utilize some form of power of friendship. In Fairy Tail, a lot of times they say something along the lines of, my friends are my power. Not to sound like Sora from Kingdom Hearts, but they do something along those lines. But lots of anime do that. When some sort of event happens that triggers an emotional response, they get some sort of power increase. Goku in Dragon Ball Super says at one point, I'm not going to let you destroy my world. Or Mob in Mob Psycho 100, something happens to Reagan or his brother, and then that garners their emotional response, which then causes him to go ballistic and unleash all of his powers. And so, Fairy Tail is not the only anime that does this, but it seems to be the only one that catches flack for doing so all the time. So, I'd say it is a reasonable take, but in my opinion, I think it's a little bit overstated. Number 8, Naruto is not an underdog. I cannot speak to this one. Naruto, I have never seen. I tried to watch the original series 2 summers ago, but I just wasn't able to get into it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I would say, based on what I know about Naruto, I'd estimate that this is a little bit of a hot take, but I don't know enough to speak on it, so I'm just going to move on. Demon Slayer isn't original. I also don't think this one is a hot take. Demon Slayer really is not an original anime. It follows a lot of shonen tropes. Tanjiro is a fairly basic main protagonist, main character, but that doesn't mean it's not good. Demon Slayer is, I think, pretty good quality anime, visually, storytelling-wise, character-wise, but that doesn't mean that just because it isn't original does not mean that it isn't also good. I think it is good, but just not original. Number 6, not all CG anime is bad. I would say that this is a lukewarm take. CG does sometimes have really, really bad anime, and it can throw a lot of people off. But I don't think it is necessarily all bad. There are some cases where CG anime is okay, where there are some CG things within anime that are good, but there are a lot of CG anime out there that are bad. However, I don't have a strong opinion on this one. The Fate series is overly complicated. I, again, can't speak too much to this one as I only know the very, very basics of the Fate series. I know that there's a lot of video games, movie, TV show, media that goes into the Fate series, and so I could see how it could end up being very, very complicated, but I myself has not spent the time getting caught up watching all the Fate series. And so I would say that based on what I know, this probably is a lukewarm to even a not hot take, cold take, where it is a fairly consistent opinion held amongst many people. Number 4, One Piece is too long. I again don't think this is a hot take. One Piece on episode 1100 and something, and they're also on chapter 1100 and something. That is not normally something you see with anime. Normally, anime, about 3 chapters of manga is adapted into one episode. So for One Piece, that would mean that they should really be somewhere in the 350, 400 episode mark based on the manga that they have out. However, that is not the case. One Piece also being 1100 episodes also scares off a lot of people, myself included, where I'm not going to watch One Piece unless it looks as though an end is in sight. And I also think something like One Piece Kai, where they condense it down, remove a lot of the filler, remove a lot of the things that aren't necessarily necessary to the plot, would also intrigue a lot of people in. But I'm in 100% agreement with this, that the One Piece anime is far too long for what it is. Number 3, the third Hokage was not a good leader. Again, I haven't seen Naruto. I can't speak too much on this, so I'm just going to move right along. Number 2, Goku is a bad father. I think that this is a medium take. Not because Goku is a awful father, but he's certainly not a good father. The problem that I run into with this take is that by anime standards, Goku really is a pretty good father. He loves his sons, he takes care of his family, he fights on their behalf and saves them and the world multiple times. The reason he comes across as a bad father is that there are times that he has temporarily ran off to go fight someone or has instigated some sort of fight that results in his or other people's deaths. But he does normally end up bringing them back using the Dragon Ball. So you could argue he's bad in that regard. But when you look at other anime dads, like the worst of the worst guys like Sho Tucker, like Endeavor, even Jing Freaks, Goku is not nearly as bad of a dad as any of them. He's present for his family. He protects his family. He loves his family, which is a lot more than can be said for a lot of those guys. He doesn't abuse his family. So with that in mind, there are many more anime dads out there that are significantly worse.
タッカーさんなんだ、いるじゃないか。
Yeah.
And number 1, the perfect anime does not exist. Again, I don't know why that's a hot take. You could argue that there are no anime with 0 flaws, which I could get on top.
What did he say?
Or that's something I could get on board with, where there are no perfect anime out there, where there is something that isn't perfect about it. However, there are some anime that I don't have any issues with. For example, Monster, my favorite anime, I don't really have any qualms with. I don't have any problems with anything in there. But some people might. And so then you could argue that that then is not a perfect anime. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, another one that people say is a perfect anime. One of my favorite animes of all time, my second favorite anime of all time, but someone might have some sort of issue out there. So I would give this moderate take. There are very, very good anime that on an individual basis, some people might say are perfect, but far and wide, there are no anime out there that are perfect. So looking at this list, I don't think there are that many hot takes. I think there was 1 or 2 hot takes in there, and then there were several ones that I agreed with, and some that I could reason to how they were able to come up with that. Really, there weren't that many hot takes on there, in my opinion. If I had to add one to the list, one that I would add on here is that Attack on Titan is not one of the best anime out there.
Oh my god.
It has a lot of flaws. I really don't like the first season that much, and it just takes a while to get into, and I think that it is way overhyped for what it is, and that there are several anime that are better. And with that, let me know your thoughts below, give me your anime hot take, and make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this.